What's going on, everybody? Wilson here, your spiritual hype man. Shito, Patty, I'm Patty. I'm on the podcast. Just give me a second, okay? What's going on, everybody? Wilson. Hey, I said, give me a second, Patty. Honest communication. That's what I'm talking about. What's going on, everybody? Wilson here, your spiritual hype man. And I hope you're having a great day. And if you're not, just remember it's just thoughts in our head. We just got to turn them off. We're at that level of Jedi Mind Master, or just ask yourself some different questions, some prompt questions to think about something else, right? Like, what can we be proud of? What did I do well? I deserve this. Who deserves this? We do. You do. We all deserve it. Today I was actually at the acupuncturist. Shout out to Dr. Heather. And I feel like acupuncture is phenomenal because it's like another cheat code for the body, right? So, however, while laying there, because so many things have been going on since the last episode, it's only been almost like a week, and I'll fill you in a little bit. It's some exciting things, just a lot of great things happening. But again, it's time, right? So we only have 24 hours in a day, and then all this time having to do all these other things, maybe some of them unscheduled, and building the team, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of things going on. And when I laid down today, it took me like almost 30 minutes. It took me almost a whole session to like finally like quiet the brain, to relax, right? Like, even though the needles help that for sure, because it's just like it's like a cheat code, right? Like I said before, for the body, the neuro system. And so there's a couple things here, like, that I was trying to work through and remind myself or prompt myself when it came to letting go and relaxing. And once there's two ways to go about it that I've realized as well, and I've practiced. And Patty actually was doing the same thing today. One of them is like letting the thoughts come in, like acknowledging the thought, and then letting the thought go out. Like, so when these thoughts come in, it's like, okay, I need to relax, or like what's coming up, like what's in your brain, what's in your mind, like what comes up, acknowledging it, coming up with, whatever your proper solution is, or at least acknowledging it, and then on to the next thing. And then after a while, there'll be no more thoughts, or there won't be as many all at one time. So that's one way to go about it, that I feel that we've both done. And at some point, if you can be really good at it, or like at least conscious of doing it, it helps alleviate all these, what we call squirrels in our brains, or all these extra thoughts. The second one today, what I was using, I guess my prompt was more of like, this is my time, right? So acknowledging the fact that I'm getting acupuncture for me, and it's like a 30 to 45 minute session for me, and this time is for me, right? So like almost like a hard stop of these other thoughts and these other things and things I got to do for, whether it is other people to a certain extent, but again, what comes from that equals something for us at the end of the day. But again, the thought was, this time I'm taking for myself. So like, let everything else stop, or let these thoughts stop coming in so fast. They'll be there once you're done. They'll be there tonight. They'll be there tomorrow. They'll be there, the following day, if we're still obviously here and present in this moment. And so reinforcing that thought helped me at least get to that level of like relaxation. And then Dr. Heather came in like 10 minutes later, and she was like, hey, yeah, you ready? Like, I was like, no. I was like, can I get 10 more minutes? And then she was nice enough to give me 10 more minutes, which worked out well. So that was something that came up today, and just something I guess I figured I'd share. And there's been a couple of things that have happened throughout this week, and I guess this would be like a cool recap. I want to do a recap, but I also just want to touch base on podcasts moving forward, and I'm excited because we're going to have a couple of guests on here. Like Stephanie was our previous guest. Her second episode will be coming out soon this week, so look out for that. But I'd like to prompt that with the guests that we have coming forward, or like in the near future. These podcasts, I really would love for the listeners, for you all to just take a second, like while you're listening to these stories, one, try to identify the influences that they talk about, like, right. Even if our guests or even I don't directly say, oh, like that's the influence, like try to acknowledge or like try to really be conscious of like, what is the guest saying in terms of what was the influence for them? What was the thought? What was the emotion? And then what are some of the decisions that they've made based on, their story or their journey and their perspective? Because that's really it. I feel like for anything and everything that we're doing moving forward, it really comes down to what is the decision that we're making moving forward, and then what's driving these decisions, right? Which in essence is the whole like understanding or the psychology or the methodology or fill in the blank for what means the most to you in terms of what, nothing changes until you do encompasses or what it is. And so just consider that, right? Like the last one with Stephanie, there's definitely things that she grew up with. She talked about most of it or some of it. And then certain things that she later identified in terms of why she was making these decisions, and then how that led her to like a negative type, decision making pattern, and then being involved with certain people that were again creating or reinforcing this type of negative, I would say, decisions that then created a negative impact. So that's just another thing to consider moving forward with these special guests that we have, and I can't wait to share these podcasts with you and let you tap into this wealth of knowledge from the homies that I've been greatly part of throughout the journey. So that's one. That's one of the things. Now let's say what else. Man, there's been a couple things. I'll do a quick recap, and I think what I'll do is I'll shoot, like I'll record a couple of podcasts on each one. But one of them was the first thing that came to mind is I got an opportunity. I got connected through my network, right? So same thing, the whole network. I think for business or anything else, for business or for overall goals and outcome, we've heard it all before. Your network is your net worth and all these other things. But you can't really, I can't go against that. There's something to it, right? There's something to the connections you have, the people, the influence that you're around can lead to other opportunities that in this like structure of society, whether it's for work or business, etc., can lead you to like a bigger level of arena, like a bigger player, like a bigger arena with like bigger players when it comes to either finances or just like, I don't want to say, fame, I guess, which is again another weird topic that we can talk about and we can jump into in terms of like what fame actually is. But at the end of the day, it's like you're still dealing with another human being. So it's just like this weird phenomenon of like, being well known and well, I guess, liked or perceived for a certain thing that you do, to a level that like a lot of people know you. And I guess that's what really fame is. So that being said, we got the opportunity to like work with Vanilla Ice recently, and that came through a connection from one of our friends from BNI, which is again another like success story of being part of it. But in essence, the macro level of BNI is just a group of people getting together under one common goal of sharing business and contacts with each other to gain more business, and at the end of the day, while doing that, creating friendships, right? So like we got the opportunity, we got connected to Bronx House Pizza, which was awesome. Met the owner, Brad. Brad had a relationship with Vanilla Ice because he came out here in the area. And then one thing led to another. I met their production team, and then they were doing the event for Little Smiles. And next thing you know, I'm filming, and everybody liked the product and the service in terms of like who I was, what I brought to the table, and then the recap edit, which, everybody was on board and saying, wow, that was really good. And I feel good about it, right? It feels good about, like, I feel good about getting acknowledgement on that side of things, because it's been quite some time to, editing and et cetera, which I think this brings me to the next point. Same thing. It's so cliche, but it's like, when opportunity meets preparation, that's when good things happen. And I would say it's the same thing here. Like if I didn't go through my years of experience of just trial tribulations and going through things and like just getting better or taking that time on in addition to everything else that I'm doing to progress my craft, whether it is speaking, whether it is, changing the things that I want to change emotionally, physically, so I don't like mentally and physically abuse people, or in this case, continue to improve my craft of like storytelling, creating, editing, like, you know, all these things, like when this opportunity like arose and I didn't do well, or I didn't surpass like expectations, I potentially wouldn't be where I'm at now at this level of like potentially moving forward and doing something great and like getting to that next level of this structure of society, I guess, or within this game of business and value and adding value to people, and then, you know, whatever may come from that. So that was pretty exciting. It was like 3 to 4 days of like unscheduled filming on top of like everything else that we're doing. But again, like it feels good. It doesn't feel like, man, look at everything that I'm doing and like I'm not getting anything out of it. It's like it just feels really good in terms of the direction that we're heading and the validity, I guess, right? Like being valued and being acknowledged, I think is a big point here within this particular situation, because it does feel good when you do a good job, or when you internally think that you're doing a good job, and then you get validated by other people that you maybe haven't met before, but are in similar fields, or maybe at this level of like, I don't want to say another higher arena, but like someone that like can I guess it is connected to like that level of like, I guess, opinionated respect, or, you know, whatever that is, right? Like we can dive into that deeper, but I think the main point here is that whether it's your coworker, your other half, your family, your brother, like anybody that you're in a relationship with or in a situation with, where you can give the respect and you can give that acknowledgement, I think it goes a long, long way for not only the relationship, but for that other individual. And you never know where that can lead to, or who, you know, or like, yeah, that piece of like acknowledgement can lead to something for that other person in a way that like changes their lives. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate the connection. I appreciate like what happened in terms of that situation. The other thing that happened was, again, I'm part of like a BNI group, and this was like similar to what happened a couple of weeks ago, but like I posted something in like one of our closed groups. It was about attending like a BNI, it was attending a Tony Robbins like virtual, you know, one of his events. And we have like a business coach in our group. The guy's an awesome guy. We're building a relationship right now. So like we're in that initial phase of like, hey, who are you? Like, you know, whatever, like building that trust. And so I put something out there, like just like, hey, who's interested in maybe like doing a watch party? We can go equally on this. And then if you guys are interested, let's do this. But then he had commented like some sort of comment that was more of on a negative tone, right? Like about it, and just kind of the way he phrased it, all that stuff. You can tell that there was some like emotional connection to like a negative like tone to it. Initially I was like, what the fuck does this guy think he is? Like, you know what I mean? But like, and I was going to be like, well, how do I respond in a way that like, you know, will fucking checkmate him? And that was like my initial thought, right? Like initial like emotional feeling. But then again, this is where, as a person, you continue to like get better at these things, because years ago I probably would have done that, right? And that would have probably led to something, and it has, right? Because I can probably recall times that I did something like that, or I reacted, and then that led to something like something else that I didn't want, whether it was the group seeing me in a way, or me being away, like whatever it was, it created a negative outcome, right? Influence, thought, emotion, action, situation, decision, negative outcome. And so instead of like reacting right away, I just was like, you know, there's really nothing I can do about it. Like I didn't do it intentionally. Like there was no negative intention behind it. I don't think I was wrong for doing it. And, you know, I guess there'll be a good time and day to do it. And I don't think the medium on Facebook in front of other people, or like in the group, to like try to check someone, I don't think is the best thing, the best decision for me and for him and for anybody else in the group. So I just like let it be. And then Friday, you know, there was a Friday get together. It was like BNI, you know, the guys of BNI got together on a Friday night to hang out and just kind of chill, you know, and then we were both there, right? So like I didn't approach it. I didn't say anything. Just like very respectful. What's up? What's going on? Everything cool? All right, cool. And then like before he left, like we were sort of in the same room, and he just like mentioned something, and I was like, oh yeah, dude, like I don't even know. I didn't know what to say, so whatever. And then it went from there. Like then we just were kind of just very open about it. And I was like, hey man, like there's no intention, there's no negative intention, basically everything I just said. And then at the end of the day, like it was a good discussion, like, and I understood that he was emotionally connected to like the thought that like he just doesn't like, well, I guess the thought is like he's upset at the fact of all these gurus out there like Tony Robbins and Ramsey and all these other people that they have these events and people pay thousands of dollars to go see, but really like after the event there's no follow-up, there's no like 15-minute call with Tony Robbins, and there's nobody there like to like help aid that progression or that goal. And he's like, that's kind of like I get tired of it because he's does the same thing, or he's been to all the webinars and seminars and things like that. So that's what he shared with me. So he was able to share the like that perspective and like that emotional connection to why that drove the decision to like comment something in the way that he did. And again, this is me understanding the whole process of influence, thought, emotion, action, outcome. There's got to be a reason, right? There's got to be a reason why he's feeling that way, enough for him to like get on the keyboard and like type some shit and then like equal something, right? And so whatever, either way, we talked about it, we hashed it out, and I was like, oh, well, I understand now why you would be upset, the fact that I put that out there, because you're connected to that emotional feeling of like these guys and these gurus that like, market and whatever, and people spend thousands of dollars, but what do they really get out of it? I was like, dude, makes total sense, like let's get on it, let's have a talk. And so one of the things that we do as well is like as a BNI, like I'm part of the BNI group, and I'm also like the education coordinator of that group. And so like I like to take these situations and then share it with the group. And so then a positive thing that came from it was not only did I get did I build more relationship with that individual, but now we have an educational moment that then can be shared with the group, because it was posted in a closed group. And so most of BNI saw my post, and then I would assume saw his comment, so everyone's like, ooh, what's happening now? Like, let me get my popcorn, But again, I think it's an important point to just really figure out, like, like be very conscious of these things, that like, yes, someone may do something. Yes, someone may act some way towards you, or, comment or whatever, but just understand that they're also going through some sort of situation. And instead of like jumping to like retaliating or fighting back, or like an eye for an eye kind of shit, like, and of course there's situations, that like you need to protect yourself. But like when it comes to things like this, I think there's always a way, if there's someone in that situation, like, and I, in this case, me, right? And this is what I can be proud of, is that I have the ability, like I have that level of like thought, that Jedi mind masterness, and we can all get there as long as we practice the level of awareness and consciousness every time we're in some sort of situation. And it takes time, right? It takes years of just knowing and being aware of it. But I can be proud of that for me, that I know that is who I am in every situation now. I can observe, I can like hear what's happening, and then I'm not afraid to ask like upfront and honest questions in a simple way that makes it easy for people to communicate and not feel threatened or not feel disrespected. And I think that's the point. And so it was great. We're going to be working together. We have an event coming up that I'll be speaking at as well. So we turned that, initial weird negative situation, and then we extracted the positive. And then now we're moving forward in terms of building this relationship. So that's been happening. Been working on building the group, like our agency. I've got a chance to work with a great bunch of team members at an event. I think I talked about this before. So now it's like looking at that part of the system, at that part of the business, and looking at a macro level of like, okay, what do we need to get better at? What's our systems? And I think I'm going to make a different episode on this, but I'll leave you with this. Like when it comes to business, or maybe even just running, your household or whatever it is, like I think this can be used in any vertical, I think, but for the business aspect, whether you're looking to start, a side hustle, or you're going to jump into the entrepreneurship, or even if it's at work, I've realized that it's very simple. It's just understanding, creating your product, right? Product or service, but at the end of the day, service is still a product. So creating your product, understanding exactly what your product is, and then creating a system around it for the attention / marketing, and then the creation / producing. And that's it. Like, and then rinse and repeat. So it's really like, know your product, really fully understand your product. What's the offering that you have with that product, and what are your systems to deliver that product, and rinse and repeat. Like, that's it. So like, it's obviously that's the macro level, and then each of those verticals or each of those statements you can break down into its own vertical funnel, whatever the fuck it is for your business. But it's really just that simple. The only thing that now we have to do is like, and this is what I'm working on, is making sure that there's enough time throughout doing the things that we have to do, right? Because right now we're still in the growth phase, and we don't have we don't have the ability to have all these players on the team yet, that everyone is sort of doing their thing. But even if we had the ability and had all these players, and then we don't have a system, or we don't have the macro level of thinking that way, then it would be chaos. And so I've realized that like in anything that we do, it's very simple. It's like, what is the product? What is the process? What are the systems? That's it. What's the product? What's the system, right? Because within the system, there's processes, or AKA processes. What's the product? Know your product. Create your systems, rinse and repeat. All right, homies. I appreciate you. Keep crushing it. I look forward to continuing this journey. We are working, and I'm telling you, I promise you, we're going to be giving away a retreat, West Virginia, right off the Potomac River, in like a 20-room mansion. Drinks, but non-alcoholic drinks, food, yoga, everything that you can think of at a yoga retreat, to get away for a couple of days and just have fun and be in touch with nature, yourself, and just have an opportunity to just like get away for a couple of days. We are going to be giving that away to all our listeners. There's going to be details in terms of how to do that. But if you are interested, make sure to follow us on Insta and the YouTube. And that's it. So I can't wait for this. This will be our first one of many. Keep crushing it. And don't forget, nothing changes until you do. And we'll talk again soon on the next one. Peace.